Father? Good.
What if I told you that the greatest gangster movie ever made was literally held together by paranoia, broken ribs, and a stray cat? That Al Pacino, yes, the Al Pacino, was fired after 2 weeks and replaced by Robert Redford? That Marlon Brando terrorized his co-stars with actual severed animal parts while wearing shoe polish as makeup? The Godfather wasn't just a movie, it was a war zone. And today, I'm taking you behind enemy lines to reveal the 10 wildest facts that nearly destroyed cinema's greatest masterpiece. Stick around because fact number 8 involves a complete accident that created movie history, and the bonus revelation at the end? It's so psychologically twisted, it'll change how you see Hollywood forever. Let's dive into the chaos. Picture Hollywood, 1970. The studio system is crumbling. Young directors are challenging the old guard. And in the middle of this revolution, one man is about to risk everything on a book about the mafia that nobody wanted to make. But first, let me tell you about an audition so rebellious, it saved 2 careers and created a legend. Fact number 1, Brando's shoe polish rebellion. March 1971. The offices of Paramount Pictures are chaotic, with executives shouting at the top of their lungs. The subject of their anguish? Marlon Brando. Box office poison, they scream. Career killer. His last 4 films had bombed spectacularly. The man who once electrified audiences in a streetcar named Desire was now considered unemployable. But Francis Ford Coppola had a vision. He saw something in Brando that no one else could see. The problem? Convincing the suits upstairs. So Coppola hatched a plan so crazy, it just might work. Picture this, Brando's Beverly Hills home. Coppola arrives with a small camera crew. Just treat this like a makeup test, he tells the legendary actor. Nothing formal. Just experiment. What happened next was theatrical brilliance. Brando disappears into his bathroom and emerges transformed. Shoe polish. Yes, shoe polish, slicked through his silver hair, darkening it to an aged black. Tissue paper stuffed into his cheeks, creating the jowls of an aging bulldog. His voice drops to a whisper, barely audible, forcing everyone to lean in. Gone was the magnetic sex symbol. In his place sat a man who looked like he'd been carved from stone and shadow. A patriarch whose very presence commanded respect and fear. When the studio executives finally saw this footage, something extraordinary happened. The room fell silent. These hard-nosed businessmen who had built their careers on saying no suddenly couldn't speak. They were witnessing the birth of Don Vito Corleone. But here's where it gets interesting. For the next 50 years, Hollywood would tell you a lie about how Brando achieved this transformation. A lie so convincing, even film scholars believed it. Fact number 2, the 50-year Hollywood lie. 5 decades, 5 freaking decades. Every documentary, every behind-the-scenes special, every film school textbook repeated the same story. Marlon Brando stuffed cotton balls in his cheeks during filming to create Don Vito's distinctive look. The story became Hollywood gospel. It fit perfectly with Brando's reputation for method acting extremes. Fans loved the image of their favorite actor going to such lengths for authenticity. There was just one problem. It just wasn't true. Here's what really happened. During that legendary audition, as mentioned earlier, Brando used tissue paper, not cotton balls, as a temporary experiment. Once he was cast, professional makeup artists stepped in. They created sophisticated dental prosthetics that achieved the same effect without the discomfort of foreign objects in his mouth. These weren't simple fake teeth. They were custom-crafted pieces that changed the entire shape of Brando's jaw and mouth. The prosthetics allowed him to speak clearly while maintaining that distinctive, aged appearance that made Don Vito so memorable. But here's what makes this even more incredible. Brando's creative instincts during that bathroom transformation were so precise, so perfectly calibrated, that it took a team of Hollywood's best prosthetic artists using cutting-edge technology to replicate what he achieved with simple tissue paper and raw intuition. Speaking of intuition, let me tell you about an actor whose career was literally hanging by a thread, and how one scene saved him from Hollywood exile. Fact number 3, Pacino's career death sentence. October 1971, 2 weeks into filming. The call comes, you're fired. Al Pacino was being replaced by Robert Redford. Contracts were already being drawn up. He's lifeless, executives complained. Where's the charisma? They couldn't see past Pacino's quiet, mumbling performance to understand what Coppola was building, a man slowly awakening to darkness. Coppola needed a miracle. It came in the form of one scene, the restaurant assassination. Michael's first murders. His transformation from reluctant son to cold-blooded killer. When the cameras rolled, magic erupted. Pacino's quiet intensity transformed into sheer menace. His stillness held the weight of destiny itself. The moment he pulled that trigger, executives realized this wasn't just acting, it was a display of controlled power. The daily screening was charged with anticipation. Then came the verdict. He keeps the role. That one pivotal scene not only salvaged Al Pacino's career, but also cemented a moment in cinema history. But if you think that transformation was intense to watch, the next scene literally traumatized an actor with real animal parts. Fact number 4. The horse head was real. John Marley had done this scene before in rehearsals. Fake horse head, obvious rubber texture, the kind of prop that made everyone on set chuckle between takes. So when he slid his hand under the silk sheets that morning, he anticipated nothing different. Except he did. The smell of metallic made his stomach turn before his mind caught up. His fingers found matted fur that was still damp, with real bone beneath real flesh. Coppola had sent his crew to a dog food processing plant the night before. They acquired a racehorse that was recently put down, head intact and unmarred. While Marley slept in his trailer, they made the switch. The scream that followed wasn't a performance. It was the sound a man makes when his reality tilts sideways, when the safe boundaries between fiction and horror collapse in an instant. Coppola kept the cameras rolling as Marley delivered a scene no amount of method acting could replicate. The director had gotten his authentic moment. For weeks afterward, Marley would wake in cold sweats, his hand instinctively checking his own sheets. And speaking of psychological warfare, while Coppola traumatized actors, he was fighting his own battle for survival that threatened to end his career. Fact number 5. Director on death row. Every morning, Francis Ford Coppola woke up expecting to be fired. Studio executives wanted a cheap gangster flick with car chases and contemporary settings. Coppola envisioned an epic family saga with period authenticity and psychological depth. Every creative decision became warfare. Casting was questioned. Period costumes criticized. The tiny budget allocated for exploitation cinema couldn't support Coppola's artistic vision. Each day's raw footage was scrutinized like evidence in a murder trial. Executives watched with prosecutors' eyes, seeking any excuse to justify firing the director. Here's the incredible irony. This constant threat pushed everyone to deliver performances they'd never achieve in comfort. When your professional life hangs in the balance, every take becomes precious. Coppola directed like his life depended on it, because professionally, it did. That desperation, that fight-or-flight energy, is embedded in every frame. You can feel the stakes in the finished masterpiece. But psychological pressure was nothing compared to the actor who literally broke his body for this movie. Fact number 6. Caan's broken sacrifice. James Caan refused stunt doubles for Sonny's death scene. He wanted to wear the explosive squibs, small charges that simulate gunshot wounds, himself. "I want the close-ups to be real," he declared. The crew strapped multiple squibs across Caan's body. Chest, arms, back. When they warned him about the danger, his response was pure Sonny. "I don't care." Boom, boom, boom. The first explosion was more powerful than expected. Crack, 2 ribs broken. Caan doubled over, gasping, face contorted in genuine agony. They needed 12 camera angles. 12. That meant 11 more takes of brutal punishment, each explosion adding damage. Caan's response: "Let's do it again." The payoff? Sonny's death remains cinema's most visceral assassination scene. Every impact carries the weight of real trauma, because it was real trauma. But Caan's physical sacrifice was nothing compared to the scene that nearly bankrupted the... Fact number 7. The $250,000 party. The opening wedding scene consumed 25% of the entire movie budget. Why? Coppola's obsession with authenticity reached insane levels. Real Italian families as extras. Professional chefs preparing genuine regional cuisine. Custom period costumes tailored by specialists. Musicians playing traditional folk songs, not actors pretending. Then weather struck. 3 planned days became 2 weeks. Each extra day meant housing and feeding hundreds of people. Hotels, restaurants, and transportation costs multiplying exponentially. Studio executives panicked. How can one scene cost this much? But Coppola understood something accountants didn't. Authenticity can't be faked. That expensive gamble established the film's credibility. Years later, critics consistently cited the wedding's genuine atmosphere as proof of the film's exceptional quality. The most expensive party in Hollywood history had paid off artistically. But speaking of authenticity, the most iconic moment in the film happened completely by accident. Fact number 8. The $1 Million Accident. This image is burned into cinema history. Don Vito stroking a cat while discussing murder. Here's what will blow your mind. No cat in the original script. A stray wandered onto the Paramount lot. Brando spotted it, and, without telling anyone, not Coppola, not the crew, simply picked it up and incorporated it into his performance. Accidental genius. The image crystallized everything. A man capable of brutal violence while tenderly caring for a defenseless creature. The duality of power, love, and murder. One problem: the cat purred so loud it ruined the audio recording. Sound engineers worked overtime, separating Brando's whispers from the cat's enthusiastic soundtrack. Multiple times, editors suggested removing the cat digitally. But everyone recognized magic. A spontaneous moment revealing more about Don Corleone than pages of exposition. But a stray cat was nothing compared to real mobsters trying to shut down the entire production. Fact number 9. When real gangsters attack Hollywood. March 1971. Thousands of protesters in Times Square with signs, "Stop the Godfather." Leading them, Joseph Colombo, head of one of New York's 5 crime families. Real mobsters protesting a movie about mobsters. Law enforcement scrutiny. Bad for business. The stunning irony. Actual criminals worried that a movie about criminals would damage their reputation. The protests gained national media coverage, political pressure. The resolution required delicate diplomacy. Remove terms like mafia and Cosa Nostra from dialogue. In exchange, filming could proceed. This compromise actually improved the script. Instead of obvious criminal terms, characters used euphemisms. This thing of ours. The family business. Real criminals had accidentally made the movie realistic. But speaking of psychological warfare, let me reveal the secret Coppola carried every single day. Fact number 10. The family dinner that created a family. Before a single scene was filmed, Coppola did something revolutionary. He made his actors become a real family by eating together as one. Coppola held improvisational rehearsal sessions that consisted of the cast sitting down in character for formal 3-course Italian dinners. Complete with antipasto, wine, spaghetti, Mama's home-cooked meatballs, espresso, and biscotti. The actors couldn't break character during these meals, which Coppola saw as a way for the cast to organically establish the family roles seen in the final film. Brando sat at the head of the table with Robert Duvall, James Caan, and Al Pacino around it, talking and getting to know each other over lavish meals. This wasn't just rehearsal, it was family building. By the time cameras rolled, these actors had shared dozens of meals together, argued in character, laughed together, built genuine relationships that translated into the authentic family dynamics on screen. The Corleone family chemistry you see in the movie was real. Those weren't actors pretending to be brothers. They were men who had broken bread together, shared stories, and become an actual family around Coppola's dinner table. The Godfather emerged from absolute chaos to become cinema's definitive statement about power, family, and the American dream. The film's enduring power comes not just from its performances and direction, but from the very real stakes that every participant faced during its creation. You can feel that desperation, that fight-or-flight energy in every frame. Which of these behind-the-scenes disasters shocked you the most? The real horse head that traumatized John Marley? Caan's broken ribs? Or Coppola's secret paranoia shirt? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And if you're hungry for more content like this one, smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Because trust me, we're just getting started with the truths behind cinema's greatest masterpieces.